Hello everyone, it's Mark Starr. Welcome back to another session of the Hopry. This is actually session number 199, and I'm going to have to probably get this one started pretty quickly because I opened this bottle right before the review, and as you can see, it's a pretty lively beer. This is the Odell Deconstruction Ale, which is a beer that is 44% ale, 33% ale aged in oak, 20% in bourbon, and the remaining 3% in wine barrels. It also clocks in at 10%, and it is considered an American wild ale. So there should be a little bit of funkiness in here, a little bit of, a Belgian yeast character as well. But anyway, let's go ahead and dig into this one because, like I said, you can see right here as well that it's already starting to come out of the top of the bottle. So pouring it out, I could already get some of that aroma. That sort of barrel-aged sour aroma. Beautiful warm orange color on this one though. Really kind of looks like an IPA from the West Coast. Good amount of white, really light and fluffy head on this one. Maybe even, kind of an eggshell white color. But these bubbles aren't very tight-knit. This is, real frothy. In fact, I'm surprised this hasn't dissipated by now. But yeah, just a really inviting looking beer, really good looking beer. So let's go ahead and dig in and see what it smells like. Okay, so it definitely smells like an American wild ale, so I'm getting some, Brettanomyces, maybe even some of the lacto and petio that a lot of times are added to beers like this. There's a little bit of spice. Also, some of that Belgian yeast, so almost like a light bubble gum, like a light banana bubble gum, if you will. A little cotton candy action going on as well. Yeah, just a really fresh, citrus-like aroma. Good smelling beer. I can definitely tell that it's been aged in those different types of barrels. So let's go ahead and dig in. Cheers. Well, the first thing that stands out to me is how it's really kind of spicy and tart at the same time. So I imagine that spiciness is coming from the yeast, but also from the barrel, which is kind of giving it sort of a bitter astringency, I guess you could say. I'm getting sort of a lemon funk up front as well. Definitely has a very dry finish. You can obviously tell that they've put a lot of champagne yeast or some type of yeast like that to kind of help dry this one out, but also to open the beer up and make it a little bit more effervescent. Even as I pour just a little bit more in there, you can see it still pours a great amount of head. Good carbonation coming right up from the bottom of the glass up to the top. Odell's been doing a lot of really good sour ales lately, a lot of good barrel-aged beers, and I think this is another one. I really like this one. If I were to give you something that it kind of reminds me of, I would say this is probably closest to Russian River's Temptation. As you'll know, the Temptation of most of those beers, and I'm thinking Temptation, Supplication, and Consecration specifically, the Temptation is the one that is really the lightest. And sometimes I think beers that are light and refreshing like this really lend themselves better to Brettanomyces and also, barrel aging. I mean, obviously you can barrel age stouts and other types of beers, but I think this lighter style of beer with that oak and the wine barrels really helps accentuate those flavors. So I'm definitely getting that in here. But yeah, just a very enjoyable beer, very easy drinking at 10%. It is 10%, right? Yeah, 10.5% actually. So, pretty big beer, especially for a sour. Sour ales typically run anywhere from, 4.5, 5 up to, 8. Anything over 8. I typically am not a big fan of those. For some reason, it just, the sourness and the big sweetness of the malts typically don't go well for me. But honestly, This literally tastes like it could be about a 7.5% beer. Very light, very refreshing, really clean on the palate. Again, you know, that good carbonation really dries out the tongue. It makes you want to take another sip. But really just a really well-made beer. Love the way it smells, love the way it tastes, and the drinkability is really high on this one, for especially, like I said, for 10.5%. But well, that's it for today, guys. This is session 199, which means one thing. Session number 200 is close behind. Got a pretty special beer lined up for you, and I hope that you'll come back and watch that. But that's it for today. Until we get together in the next time, cheers.